Hello everybody, Judgment Phoenix, and welcome to Let's Play Final Fantasy 12 Part 42, and we're where we left off last time at Mount Baomi says, and we're going to head up to the Hall of Light after we've talked to a few refugees in the Temple Approach. Now, I would give all these people awesome voiceovers and sort of give them a voice and stuff, but I didn't leave myself enough time to read them out quick enough. I was sort of reading them silently, and so I didn't realise that I should have taken into account how long it might take me to talk that out while reading it, because sometimes I kind of fudge up on words when I'm reading out loud. So basically, when you're talking to these guys, they're just sort of talking about how nice the Kiltiases are, these guys, how they're helping them, and what's going on, and stuff like that. And I swear it sounds like my audio on this is out of sync, which would suck if it was. It does kind of sound like it is, but I could be wrong. So we're heading up to the Hall of Light, which is our next destination on the main story, and there we're going to see the Gran Kiltias, and Ashe has come to see him. I'm pretty sure we must have talked about this. There must have been a cutscene talking about this. Surely, although I can't remember there being a cutscene actually talking about going to see the Gran Kiltias. I can't remember now. Was there a cut? I can't. You guys will have to remind me if there was. Honestly, I can't remember. I don't think there was, which would be a major flaw in the story if they didn't. Yeah, kind of odd. I'm not quite sure. See, there's benefits and not benefits to this game when it comes to the storyline, because when you do watch a cutscene, it doesn't give you too much detail as to where you have to go. It just gives you tidbits, which is good in a way because it's not making you feel like it's holding your hand and sort of dragging you to where you have to go. But at the same time, it does sort of leave the story with a bit of okay, what's going on here? What are we going to do? Why are they going here? How do they know that they have to go here, etc. And into the Hall of Light we go, and excuse me, I need a bit of drink of water there. And we're going to trigger a cutscene. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be doing voiceovers over the cutscenes now. I might interject every now and then, but for the most part I might be quiet. It all depends on if I can come up with something to say during the cutscene, about the cutscene, for the cutscene. Yeah, so let's talk to the Gran Kiltias. I always found him really freaky. He looks really freaky to me. Ah, creepy! Creepy! He looks like a really anorexic Santa Claus almost. I love how they just stare at him, just waiting for him to make the first word.
I do not sleep.
Creepy.
I dream. For reality and illusion
See, they never really go into much about the Gran Kiltias. You don't actually get to know much about him, what he is, and how he has the ability to sort of psychically speak to them. And one of the flaws about this game is that character development, character backgrounds, and which we'll touch on a little bit later as well, it's just really lacking. It's just lacking. You don't get much information on, despite the fact that the Gran Kiltias is a minor character in the grand scheme of things. I would have still liked to known about him, because this guy is the Gran Kiltias. You don't get the Gran Kiltias, or Gran Kiltias. It sounds like Grand, but you don't get the sort of name Gran, which sounds pretty powerful and high and mighty. You don't just get that name like that. So it's quite a flawed feature. A flawed thing about this game is that character backgrounds aren't very in-depth. And here's another character you just don't get to know much about, Ashe. And this guy is cool. This guy is hey, he's all hipster and that, but you just don't get to hear much about him. Basically, what Lasta said is what you find out about him. That's about it. He's Ashe of the Rosarian Empire, but that's it. And it frustrates me when you don't get information on characters, especially Ashe, because Ashe is pretty, he's cool. Look at him, he's all yeah. He's all forward and nothing What's the word I'm looking for? Nothing embarrasses him, is that the word I'm looking for? I'm not sure. I could be rambling on now. But, you know, and you don't even get to see Al Cid fight. It's not to say, I mean, he looks like more of a boxer, sort of. You know, he looks like someone who'd be into fisticuffs, you know, like beating up people with his fists and feet. But you don't get to see him fight at all. But when you see that Larsa has the ability to fight and he has like a rapier, you'd expect Al Cid to be able to fight. And it would be pretty cool if you could see him fight, or if he could join your party or something. So I think that was a wasted opportunity, a wasted character, I think, because he's a very cool character.
The resistance to stay their hand. I have not come all this way to be asked to reconsider.
A word from you and the resistance would stop cold, and Rosario's pretext for joining the war scattered off to the four winds. This was what we had hoped. Alas, circumstances change. A full 2 years have passed since your reported death. Were it to become known you are still alive, I fear it could only worsen our current situation.
Because I am powerless to help.
Nay, in fact it has little to do with you.
Then what? If Lady Ashe were to extend her hand in friendship, perhaps I could then persuade the Emperor. His Excellency will solve things peacefully.
The Emperor Gramis is no more. His life was taken.
Father.
So, quite shocking news. The Emperor of Arcadia is now dead, and but that happened suddenly. That was unexpected. It's like one of those soap operas where they just like sort of throw something on you. You're like, shock horror.
What possible cause could we have to lay hand on our Emperor?
Oh, hello. So the Senate were the reason the Senate murdered the Emperor? Is that what they're saying?
Amongst our senators.
With Chairman Gregoroth as its head. With what dignity remained him, he confessed to the poisoning and passed his own sentence.
A viper with many tails. Much of the Senate is culpable.
We had no choice but to strip the Senate of authority and assign powers of autocracy to myself until such time as...
Spare me your lies. I see.
Sounds kind of fishy that Vane is saying that he needs all power to be given to him.
With Rosaria poised to invade.
And it seems like Drace is seeing this sort of an oddity right there, with Vane wanting power to be all put towards him and given to him. Very, very suspicious. Was it really the Senate that killed the Emperor?
Judge, Magister, and upholder of the law, I hereby place you under arrest.
You misunderstand. Vane did not make himself autocrat. It was the very Ministry of Law which you serve. Do you see it now, Drace? When you bared your sword at His Excellency, you bared your sword at the law.
You wear the mummers motley well, Bergen.
See, I like how Drace isn't afraid to speak, speak her mind. She's quite happy to sort of stand there and say how fake Vane is and how how he's lying for his teeth. And what Drace says, that is very true. How could Bergen have such power to pick her up by her face and throw her? And in reality, even if you could pull it off, wouldn't you break someone's neck doing that because of the force of pulling their head in one direction? Wouldn't that sort of like sever their spine or something? Because I mean, you'd have to have a lot of strength to even perform that sort of throw. So Vane found out that Gabranth was going to the Emperor and telling him about what Vane was doing. So it's kind of interesting how the Emperor has now died, or has been murdered. But was it really the Senate?
He has been tried and found guilty.
Your Excellency, I beg you reconsider.
So now I don't like this scene. This scene annoys me. I'm sorry if you can hear me swallowing. That's my microphone's fault, not mine, I swear. always kind of got sad at this scene. It's a sad moment. So Gabranth is torn between duty and doing what he wants to really do, not doing what he knows is right.
Live, Gabranth. Protect the young lord. Protect Larsa.
See, and Drace is Drace in the few moments you actually really get to know Drace, because there was only one more scene you actually see her in the game, and it's not a very long scene, but you know that she's all about protecting Larsa. But you know, she's a very interesting character, and sorry, that stab, by the way, just cringeworthy, because I don't find that very realistic. But you know, it's another case of lack of character background, lack of even getting to know the character. What you get to see Drace once, and then you get to see Drace in this scene, and they kill her off, and it's not so much that I'd mind that she gets killed off, and because I like the judges so much, I got a bit upset that Drace got killed off, because I like the judges, I think they're awesome, but you know, I think that's just me, but I think that there should be a sort of sympathy for Drace in that scene, but I don't think other gamers are not going to feel that sympathy for the fact that you get to see Drace in all of 2 scenes, and there's no sort of, you know, you don't get to know her character. They don't build up her character. They don't give you any backgrounds. The judges really are 2-dimensional characters. They're just the bad guys. That's all they are. They're labelled as the bad guys. You know that they're the upholders of the law and order of Arcadia, law and order in Arcadia, and you know that they lead the Emperor's armies and command them. But that's all you know about them. You don't get any background information, and I don't care in what form it would have came in. I wouldn't mind if it was a textbook, a small cutscene. Maybe Balthier could, you know, after they escape Barheim Passage, maybe Varn gets more interested in the judges, because you know when Gabranth walks in that scene, he's very sort of, whoa, look at this guy, he's cool. And it would, you know, if Varn had been like, what are the judges about, and then sort of, because Balthier's certain backgrounds we won't get into, but Balthier obviously knows quite a bit about the judges, and it could have, you know, spawned a cutscene where Balthier's doing a sort of voiceover, and he's explaining about each of the judges and how they became judges, and it just would have made it that more immersive. And I think that if Drace, the character, had been fleshed out, and you actually got to know about her a bit, the average gamer or anyone playing the game would actually feel a bit of sympathy for her death, because it's clear that, you know, she wants to protect Larsa, and she knows that Larsa is the true. Larsa should be the one in command now. That Larsa should be the Emperor, as it were. And she can see through Vane's lies, and you know the deceit that how he's sunk his teeth in, and how he's poisoning the government, the system. I can't think of a word. Sort of the government, the system. We'll go with the system, and you know, but just annoys me that. I mean, I felt sympathy in that scene, but I don't think many people would, because you don't really get to know her. So why would anyone feel sympathy for a character you don't get to know? And really, although they're labelled as the bad guys pretty much in this game, you can clearly see that Zargabath and Drace and Gabranth aren't bad guys. They're just doing their duty. But you can clearly see Bergen's a bastard. And who's the other one? The one we fought way back, I can't remember that other judge's name. He's like the only one with gold armour, which I thought was rather odd as well. But you can see that Bergen and the guy we've already killed, or the guy who's already dead now, you can see that they're evil, but clearly the 3 other judges are, you know, they're not evil, they're not bad, and they're just doing their duty. and it's just it's quite frustrating because the way the game sort of pans out to me is that they're just labelled as the bad guys, and they're very two-dimensional characters. I think the only judge that really gets a bit of information, a bit of background information, or a bit of development, a bit of character development is Gabranth, but we won't see that for a while anyway. So going back to the fact what I was talking about earlier about how the game doesn't hold your hand, which I do love. I do love the fact that the game doesn't hold your hand and it doesn't sort of tell you where to go to a degree. It's also cutscenes lack sort of plot development because the Gran Kiltias is going on about a sword, the Sword of Kings there, but he doesn't say it's in the Steel Shrine Miram, which we have to head off next. That's where we're heading off next, the Steel Shrine Miram, to get the Sword of Kings. But he doesn't mention that it's there. He doesn't talk about the Steel Shrine Miram. You don't get any sort of information on it, and you know, how are the characters meant to know that they have to go there? How do they know the Sword of Kings is there? They don't. I doubt Ashe knows. She's been undercover for 2 years, and I doubt she knew way before when she was a princess. Excuse me. I don't expect Balfi or Fran to know because they're sky pirates. I doubt they dabble in that sort of information. Varn and Penelo clearly aren't going to have that information, and Barsh isn't either. He's a soldier. So you know, it's sort of like, how do they know that they have to go there? They don't. And you have to, I mean, when you go and talk to the little seekers there, they actually mention that the Steel Shrine Miram, that's where you have to go, but they don't give you any information on it. So I like the fact the game doesn't hold your hand, but then I also don't like the fact that the game sort of leaves itself with plot holes. So anyway, now we are leaving the Steel Shrine Miram. The Gran Kiltias has told Ashe that she needs this. That she desires power, and one who wields the swords that can destroy Nephesite will have power. I believe that's what he said. I was kind of going on a rant there. So, and we're going to see a few more enemies on the way there. Now, one thing about these wolves is that a rare steal from them is a crossbow, but I think by around about this point in the game, I don't think crossbow is going to be quite powerful anymore. That's just in my opinion, but then again, I've already got quite high-leveled weapons for myself at the moment, and I got those through Bazaar Goods, and I will be doing some more Bazaar Goods soon enough when I need to switch out these weapons, because I don't think any of them are going to last that much longer. Perhaps the Arcturus, because that just deals a lot of damage, which is the gun that Ashe is using at the moment. Now, a little bit of information on the Skull Knights, which are those skeletons that just seem to, like, appear out of nowhere from the ground. They drop a Jujitsu G. No, sorry, there's a rare steal. A rare steal from these Skull Knights is a Jujitsu G, which is a piece of armour. And it's a chest piece, and I don't know if it could be useful at this point in the game. It has 20 as its armour rating, I believe that's what it's called. I'm not 100% sure if a 20 armour rating is all that good in the game. You might be able to buy better things from the vendors at Mount Baomises. I'm just having a quick look here. You can. So it's quite odd that some of the loot that you can get off of certain enemies, normal enemies, is actually quite unnecessary and not needed. Now these are new enemies, and these are Twin Teniers, and they're not too hard to beat. They have quite a bit of HP. Which 5,000 is the total HP they have. It's between 4,000 and 5,000. And our second new enemies are Garuda Edgies. Are these Garuda Edgies? Yeah, they're gold. Sometimes it's Garuda that are just here, but I do believe it's because of my level I've got Garuda Edgies. Now, what you can get from these, a rare drop, is a Kogorashimu. I can't pronounce it. Kogorashimu, which is one of the katanas, and that does 58 damage. which is pretty good. But I do believe the swords that I have, I think that's demon. I think Bash is wielding Demon's Bane at the moment, which I think still. Oh, excuse me. Still has more attack power than a Kogurumi. But if you didn't get a Demon's Bane, then Kogurumi. Oh god, I can't pronounce it. The Cog. We're calling it the Cog. The Katana Cog. The Cog Katana could be a good option. However, it is a rare drop, and the fact that those Garuda edges are hard to kill if you don't have any ranged weapons, in fact, or magic. If you don't use either of them, then it's practically impossible. And the fact that you have to sort of draw them away from that bridge, otherwise they'll just fall off to the bottom, and obviously you won't drop anything. So you sort of have to edge them. You have to sort of egg them over, to sort of come over to you. And actually, interesting thing here, we have an elemental. I don't know what elemental it is because there's 3 different elementals in this area of the Paramina Rift. But as soon as I started attacking this Twin Tania, the elementals started attacking me, and I mentioned a few episodes back that elementals do have a habit of attacking you when you attack certain enemies, and you don't really want to mess with them. Elementals are very powerful and sometimes can one-shot you with one of their attacks, so I wouldn't, if an elemental sort of after you, unless you're sort of trying to get sort of rare items for a Bazaar good, don't tangle with elementals just yet. We're not at the level to sort of tangle with elementals. So now we're in the Steel Shrine Miram, which is quite a gorgeous place. This it's very ancient looking, and it's just huge. And we won't be going in here today. We're going to head up to the old save crystal, and the save crystal here is a teleportation crystal. So if you've got any teleportation stones and you want to go and get some armour, because obviously the armour now at Rabanastre and etc. will be upgraded, it'll be higher attack power, higher armour ratings, etc. So if you wanted to head off to there, you could go and teleport. I'm not going to, because I'm pretty good with equipment right now. But as I said, we're not going to go into the Steel Shrine Mirror until next episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I did ramble on a lot, but I hope you enjoyed what I said. And I'll see you next time, guys. Everyone, take care.